I'm a little bit hesitant about the gallery glass because I'm going to mix this and have no idea if this color is going to work or not. It's all going to be a bit of a guessing game to see what we end up with. I mean, it ended up turning out lighter than the color I already have. Hey guys, it's Nadia from LiaDia Designs and I'm back with another video. Today we're doing another silhouette video. We've been kind of experimenting with filling these with different mediums to see how they turn out. So this one here we did with resin, so you can see how that one turned out, really nice. And then we also did this turtle, which we called Shelly, and this one was filled with abalone shells and glass paint. So we've tried a couple different things already here, and both of these guys have the clear backers on the back. That is an option. You don't have to get the backers. That just allows you to have these little hanging loops and obviously a solid back so that you don't have to set the design in resin or anything like that, but you can definitely do that if you choose to. So we've tried both of these. So today I want to try something else. We still have the paper on these. We'll remove them in a second, but today I want to try gallery glass. We've had some people tell me that they really like using the gallery glass. I have had these in my studio probably for about almost a year now. I did do a little bit of a trial with them. I wasn't super excited about them when I first tried them, but I've been hearing a lot of people tell me that they love them and they really enjoy working with them. So we're going to give them another shot. So I do have a couple colors. Today we're just going to do a limited palette. We only are doing about, some reds, and obviously these are poppies, so we're doing some reds and greens and blacks in here. But I do have kind of the full range of colors, like I have a whole bunch of others. So if this works out well or better than I'm expecting, then I'll make another couple pieces to do some other tests with them. But for today, we're going to start with this. So the first thing we need to do is get most of the paper off. Not all. We're not going to be taking off the paper off the front because I'm going to use that to protect the black acrylic. So as you know, we have black acrylic here. So, and then this has the green adhesive protective paper on the back. So this green means that I'm using the adhesive tape on the back here that needs to be removed. On this one, you can see this is the clear backer. This is just the brown paper, and this has the red back text on the back, which just means it's a normal backing paper. It doesn't have any glue or anything on it. So let me quickly remove these and I'll be back. So I just decided to come back before I finish removing this because I want to quickly show you guys how I remove the tape. I know there have been an increasing amount of orders based on the tutorials that I've been doing where people are getting these two pieces separate. So this way you get your clear backer and you get your silhouette acrylic blank with the adhesive tape on the back. So this way you can attach them yourself together and you can do other really cool things. We created the washi tape mandala piece that we created. We used washi tape on this as well as some other things. So if you want to see that video, there's also a tutorial for that. So we've been getting more and more people ordering them separate. So that means that you need to take the paper off the back for the adhesive yourself. And for me, what I do with that is I take my X-Acto knife and I just kind of go in and try to get in between the layer of the paper and the adhesive. You can't really see it, but the adhesive is super, super thin. It's industrial strength, but it's super thin. It's a little bit difficult sometimes to kind of figure out where the paper is without having to remove the tape as well. So if you find that you just basically feel the paper. If the paper's not sticky, you're good. So that's how you know if you've pulled the sticker, the adhesive off as well. So anyways, so that's just, I wanted to quickly show you that. So like I said, if it's like this one here, I could feel, you can't tell, but I can feel that it's sticky here. That means that the tape is not on the adhesive, it's still on the paper. So this way I would just press that back down. And then what I do is I go to a different spot. I don't continue there because that means that the adhesive is lifting and I don't want that. So I'm going to go back and try to pull it from another angle and let's see if we can grab it from here. So we'll pull that one up, and then I'm going to pull, let's see if I can get it. So I pulled from this way. So now I was able to get that section to stay down. So I'm going to take this, continue taking this off, and I'm going to take the front and back off of this, and I'll be right back. All right, let's just get the back off here, off of this one. There we go. And you don't have to take the back off, but there is a reason why I am, and I'm going to show it to you now. So we have our sticker on here, and then we're going to try to line it up with our backer. So this is a little tricky too, but you just try to line it up the best you can, like so, and then you're going to press it down like this. Now the trick, and the reason why I have been starting to remove the back on these, is because if you turn it over, you can actually see if there's any spots. Like here, you can kind of see there's like kind of lighter areas like there that haven't quite, now of course I'll get my fingerprints all over it, but you can kind of see there's some areas that didn't quite seal as much, like the tape didn't adhere. This can also happen on the ones that you receive from me that I've already stuck together. You should still probably do this because sometimes during shipping things wobble or start to come apart a little bit. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, but you can always double check it this way. So just go through and you just want to press all the lines to make sure that you have a proper adhesion. I call it reactivating the seal, but you can definitely just go around, press all the lines, make sure the tape is, perfectly set. This is going to help to make sure that there's no bleeding underneath the lines in between the pieces, or any kind of leakage, things like that. So another just quick tip is that you might want to give your piece a little bit of a dusting before you start painting. All right, so since we're working with poppies today, I'm going to be using red for the flowers, and this is the ruby red. So there's actually two. There's the holiday berry and a ruby red, and you can probably tell from the bottles that the color that the bottle is showing for the color, like the liquid you see inside, is actually not the final color, how it's going to look when it dries. And you can see on this bottle here, because it was used before and it's leaking a little bit, that the color is actually quite red when it dries, but it looks quite pink in the bottle. So that's the only thing that about these that's a little misleading. We're not really sure what the final color is going to look like. This one here, you can tell it looks more purplish when it dries. So even though berry is more of a purpley red anyway, so that makes sense. So what I would probably do, and I'm probably going to do this before my next video, is I'm going to create a swatch. So I'm going to take a piece of clear plastic. I'm probably going to be using just that clear acetate that I use often, but you could really use anything that's clear plastic, that's like a scrap that you can find, and just basically put a little bit on there and use a Sharpie to write down what the names are for each paint swatch color. So then this way you have a guide. So once that dries, you'll not only see the actual color, you'll also be able to see the transparency, since these are supposed to be stained glass. So that's what I'm going to be doing before the next video, but just something you might want to do as well. All right, so again, because this one dried more red and this one dried more purple, we're going to go with the red. And I'm going to be using the black onyx. Again, you can see how gray this looks in the bottle, but it does, you can see from the top here, it does dry black. So we're going to be using that. And we have a couple colors for green. So this is the Kelly green and this is the lime green. I'm going to go with the Kelly green for the stems. And then we're going to work out what we're going to do for the rest in terms of the background and the frame. All right, so let's start with our red. So we're going to, and the great thing with these, the one thing that is super convenient with them is they do come with these nozzles. So now we can just quickly go in and start to add our color. And the paint is a little thicker, so we can go in and just fill them like so. I'm debating if I should try to do any blending. So the one reason why I did mention earlier that I have tried these before and I wasn't sure if I was a huge fan of them is because they don't blend as nicely as some of the other paints that I've used. And that's really not that big of an issue, especially if you're just filling in these silhouettes, because a lot of times stained glass doesn't have a lot of shading on it anyway. But I just, but I like my shadings. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try it here or not. So I may, though I've already started here, so it may not work anyway. We might try it on one of the other flowers. Maybe on these smaller ones, we'll do some shading on those ones and see how they turn out. So let's just go ahead and fill it in here. And this does make it so much easier, oh my goodness, with having the nozzles right on the bottle. We did this with the resin, with the magical rose one that we did. We did put our resin in these little squeeze bottles for that project, and that worked really well too. So definitely squeeze bottles are the thing I think that makes this as easy as possible. I am a paintbrush girl, so I normally use paintbrushes for everything that I do, but I think for these, I think I'm really leaning towards these little nozzles. It just makes it so much faster and less messy because you can keep the nozzle inside the areas, and you can see how I haven't even made a mess yet. Where normally with a paintbrush, I probably would have dripped it on the lines already or in the wrong spot, which happens sometimes. So this definitely makes the whole thing easier. Though, now that I said that, I do think we're going to need a paintbrush for some of these small corners. So I'm going to grab one here, and we're just going to use it to push in some of that paint into that corner, just to kind of make sure that we're not missing any spots. I want to see if I can maybe add a little bit of black to this red, and then see if we can get a little bit of a darker color from that. Now to do that, I'm going to do that in a little cup, and we'll use the paintbrush for that because I don't want to fill another squeeze bottle for that purpose, because really we're just doing a little bit of a test here, because most of the color is still going to be the red. It's just going to have we're going to try to do a little bit of a gradient. So we do have brown as well. I mean, it's called cocoa brown. Maybe we add a little bit of this instead. We'll add a couple drops of that and maybe one drop of black to see if we can get a slightly darker color. And this is just one of the things that I'm a little bit hesitant about the gallery glass, because I'm going to mix this and have no idea if this color is going to work or not. It's all going to be a bit of a guessing game to see what we end up with. I mean, it ended up turning out lighter than the color I already have. So let's just add a couple things of black. And like I said, well, it's going to be a mystery. We're just going to find out what we get. So, because the black is actually making this color look lighter, not darker, but I'm sure it's going to dry dark. So yeah, so let's experiment and have a little bit of mystery here and see what we end up with. So we're going to just, again, I just want to put it in the kind of bottom area where normally a flower might be a little bit darker, and then we'll fill the rest with the normal red. All right, so then we'll just go back in here. I don't know if you can even tell that the color is different, but it is. And it does have quite a bit of the black in there. So we'll see. I think we'll do the centers black, the outer center, because I think for poppies, we normally have the black for the outer center. I think maybe we'll try using a bit of both. The lime might be a little bright, but let's try it anyway. We'll do the darker green in most of the areas, and then we'll do a bit of the lighter green to help with the leaves a little bit. So we'll fill in here, and we'll do the stem. Again, these nozzles are great for that. Actually, those of you who have already been working with the silhouette, these acrylic blanks, I have been thinking that it may be beneficial that I kind of put together a bit of a, it's almost like a color key or something that kind of shows where colors should go on each of them. Just because obviously I know generally where, you know, everything is, and I know it might be a little bit difficult when you're just looking at outlines of where the colors should go. It's kind of like a coloring book thing. Like, I want you guys to feel free to do what you want to do, but if you think it'd be helpful to say, well, these areas would all be, certain areas are be red and certain areas can be green, you can change the colors to whatever you want, but at least you kind of know what's identified as leaves and stems and flowers and things. And for some of the other designs, maybe it's, some of the other designs do get more complicated. So let me know if that's something that you guys would like to see and how best it probably would be to do that. So we're just going to do a couple little dots. We'll do a dot. We'll do the same thing here. Dot, dot, dot. And then we're going to pick another color. Let's do the, this is called amber, so it's a little bit orangey, a little bit brown. So we'll try that to see what we get. I have no idea what's going to happen if we mix these colors, but we'll see what kind of effect we get from dotting those. So for the background, another idea I had was to use the dark glitter that's here. Something like this, maybe even darken it up some more, just to kind of give it a nice, not like a black background, but kind of on the darker side. And obviously glitter, because we have to add glitter. So another product that they had that I didn't originally know about was they have clear. Now, we're going to do a lot more experiments with this. If this turns out well, I want to do some more experiments with this. So, but for now, we'll test it with some glitter, which is what I want to do today. So we're going to get our cup and we're going to put some of this in the cup. I don't know how much we're going to need for the background, but let's say we might need more, but let's say that. And then I'm going to use my LiaDia dark green color. If you want to know the actual code, there it is. And I also have this craft glitter. This is Hemway. So this is just like a black hollow. So I'm going to put oh gosh, oh no! I'm going to put some in there as well. The bottle is leaking, but all right. So I got glitter now stuck in here. Let's get them out. Let's try to liquid that down a bit so we can use it as paint. So I've never tried this before. I have no idea if this is going to work, but I'm testing it for you guys. So here we go. So we're going to just go in with our paintbrush and we're going to just put it in as well as we can. So let me just do this and I'll be right back. All right, so we got the inside area done. And now for the outer edge, I was thinking to do silver, but now I'm second guessing myself because we've made this inside part kind of that dark black green color. Maybe a bright silver will be nice. So let me grab a bright silver. I changed my mind. We're going to use a gold. I don't want to put it over because I already spilled glitter all over it. A gold instead. And the color, let's see if I can do this without spilling anything, is Fine Glitter Pure Sand Gold. So, and that again is from LiaDia. So same thing. We're going to use the crystal clear. So the previous glitter I was using was a bit more chunky with that green. The green glitter we used for the inside there was a bit of a chunkier. So that could be why it was so much thicker, or my ratio here is just more paint to glitter than what I used before. So who knows? Again, we're just experimenting. We are going to see how it all works itself out. But again, I want to give you guys as many options as possible with these silhouettes. So this way you know, whatever you can find in your arts and crafts store, you can use. You don't need to feel obligated to use, you know, the products that I tend to use, because I'm using what I'm finding at my local art store. So I'm hoping to test out a few different ones. I have another brand of paint, stained glass paint, that I just learned about. So that's going to be another video coming up soon as well. So stay tuned to kind of learn, you know, as I experiment for you, all these different, you know, types of paints and brands and concoctions and mixtures. Anyway, so there we go. It's done. So I'm going to leave it overnight. It might be even be a bit longer. I'll let you guys know what the timing is, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. All right, so it has been more than 24 hours. It's probably close to 30 now. I'm kind of poking in there to see if it's dry, and it seems like it is. So I think this is as far as it's going to get in terms of transparency. I did put my light table here so that we can get some light behind it and see how it looks. But first I want to take the paper off. But I also want to show you guys that this actually worked. I'm so in shock, actually. It does have some texture based on how I would brushed it on. So some areas are thicker than others, which is kind of neat. But it doesn't settle. So I guess that's the big thing to know about the gallery glass, is that, you know how we always talk about how resin and even like the Duraclear varnish that I normally use, it kind of settles itself. It self-levels is what most people will say it does. This does not do that. So this is basically however it kind of is placed into the piece, or however the, you know, in this case, the paintbrush was laid, like how we put the mixture on here. That's how it's set. Like it doesn't self-level. It keeps that texture, which is actually kind of interesting, and it possibly has some really good uses as well. So just to keep that in mind. Now let's see if we can get the paper off. So overall, I think the paint worked really well. At least what we can see here is, you know, the areas, even though there's some texture, you can see those ripples in there. There's a bit of texture. Overall, it seemed like it did some really nice coverage in the large areas. In the small areas like the stem, that's, I think, user error. That's me. I think there probably were some bubbles in there. So I probably do need to, you know, once I pour some paint in there, maybe use my paintbrush to go in and kind of smooth it out and maybe see if there's any bubbles underneath the surface. Or just, you know, spread it out a little bit more so that we don't have that kind of those little bubbles that we see that are happening there, just thicker areas and thinner areas. I think we just need to smooth those out. All right, so let's get some light behind it and see how it looks. Oop, turn that on. So there we go. So I do think that looks pretty nice as well. Again, not quite as transparent as what I'm used to. Like for example, showing the previous piece. So this is using resin, right? So it seems to be more transparent, like in terms of what you can see behind it. This is a little bit more opaque, but again, really pretty, I think. And so, and also if we compare it to our turtle, which has the glass paints here, like in the green areas, again, I think that's more transparent just in terms of how the color sets. It seems like it's actually a really good option, especially for how easy it was to use. There was really no mixing involved. The bottles already come with, you know, the nozzles in place. It's kind of, you know, hit the ground running and go with it. I like how vibrant the colors turned out as well. A little bit disappointed that the shading that we tried to create here in the flowers didn't work out as well as I would have thought, just because we were adding, you know, black pigment, the black paint, and even some of the brown, the cocoa brown into it as well. And it really doesn't seem like it did anything at all. Like if you look here, you don't really see anything different. And the back on this is actually really nice. So this is the back. So if this is your preference, you can definitely, do this as well. So you can paint the front and then use the back as your display if you like that better. I will be creating another video where I paint a different piece. And the reason why I want to do that is this one had a limited palette. We had mostly just reds and blacks and greens. There are quite a few other colors in the line, so I do want to try those as well. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because that's how you'll know when I post new videos. And if you want to become a member, I do have membership on both Patreon and YouTube. So we do member live streams, and members do get to have a little bit more say in terms of the things that I'm working on, maybe some new designs. They kind of get sneak peeks and things like that. So, and let me know what you thought of this piece here, the new poppy design that I created. And if there are other designs out there that you want me to consider making, for sure, leave those in the comments as well. I'm always checking the comments to see what you guys are looking for, as well as talking to members and things like that to see what else we can work on. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.